Um, well, would have to be mm, getting on YouTube. I just started in October. It's been really fun experience. Meeting a lot of cool people. Whenever I started, a lot of people like just brought me in as if I've been there this whole time. GI Nerd Commander, Nine Fires, Might Mouse 74. You guys are just so nice, and there's so many other people I can't really mention. But they all brought me in, and they were just like, "Hey, new kid, let's yeah, he's cool, right?" Which is really nice of you guys, and I want to say thank you.
Hey there, guys. Anthony here. Where do I start? So this channel's been interesting, isn't it? I started this channel back in 2010, October, so nearly 8 years coming up. It's been a bit of a journey, so I want to go ahead and make this video talking about the past, present, and future of this channel. Because I feel like it needs to go places, and I feel like I want to go places, and I want to take it in a new direction, but yet at the same time an old direction. So I just wanted to, if you'll allow me, take a seat, relax, and we're going to go down a bit of a history lesson with this channel and everything that went down in the past 8 years. The AC just turned on. I don't know how that's going to sound. Hopefully it adds to the ambience, because I'm not going to restart. So, back in about 2009 was when the movie Transformers Revenge of the Fallen was coming out. So at this time, I was roughly 14 years old, yeah. And so around this time, I was definitely out of the action figure age, I would say. But my brothers, I've got two younger brothers who were born about 5 and 6 years after me. So they were always the right age for certain things that I would have necessarily missed out on. So instead of me not being able to do those things, those people like almost went to my car because it looks like their car. Sorry, I looked out the window and I saw that. That was really bizarre. Back to the story. So they were able to get action figures when I wasn't. And I remember one day, and I don't know why specifically, we convinced our Nana, our grandma on our dad's side, to pick up some Transformers toys from the latest movie because she worked at Toys R Us and she just bought a bunch for us. Once again, I don't know how we convinced our parents and her to let this happen, but we did, and it was awesome. We got a whole bunch of them. It was like Sideways and Bumblebee and Sideswipe and Optimus Prime, and it was great. So moving forward, I wanted to know what the right toys were to get. So I looked up to see if anyone was, if there were reviews about it, or like a video about what toys there were. Because I didn't know. I didn't know that there was going to be wave this, wave that, contained this character, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know any of that. So I wanted to know, okay, who do we look out for? Who's the good ones? And I found out that there's this whole community on YouTube about these adults that would sit in front of the camera and they'd have like a background and it would just be their hands and they would have a toy and talk about it. And I was amazed. I was like, oh my god, it's like this is a thing people do? Like there are adult collectors that create content about toys and they have a whole channel talking just about toys and action figures, whether it be Transformers or superheroes or whatever. And so I discovered people like Night Slash 2020 and Optibotimus and Sean Long, and I found all these people and I was like, wow, this is actually really cool. And so over the next year, I became more and more infatuated with I can be an adult collector. I can collect toys and have them be a collection as opposed to something to play with. And so that's what I did. And I started looking for certain toys to get, and I started to look around for things that I like. So the following year, I remember I really wanted to get a Batman figure particularly. I wanted some form of definitive Batman figure. And it's funny because this was around the time of Arkham Asylum. And so the Arkham Asylum bat was like, the big black sort of like bat like that. It wasn't the yellow symbol that I was used to from like the cartoon and the 90s movies. So it was different to me. And that was like the bat symbol that was in the comics at the time. I didn't really know that part, but I knew that that was like the updated quote unquote bat symbol. And I really wanted a Batman just like that. And I remember looking on websites and everything like that and checking and kind of seeing what would be a good Batman to get. And I remember, and I'll show you real quick. So this Batman here, which is from the DC Universe Classics line, this came in a 2-pack with Robin at one point. This was the Batman that I wanted because, as you can see, it has the symbol, the bat symbol there, and it's black and it's gray, and I thought this was really cool. But he didn't come in a single pack, and I couldn't find him anywhere online. Because keep in mind, I would then have to convince my parents to buy it because I didn't have any sort of like card to use. Anything that I could find online, that's how it was purchased. Is either I find it in store and I can get it myself, or I have to tell my parents, be like, hey, can we order this thing? And they were like, oh, the internet, I don't think so. But I did manage to find a Batman figure that I liked, which was this one. So this was the DC Universe Classics Batman that came out. It was just a single carded figure. I ordered this from Big Bad Toy Store back in the day, and this was one of the very first figures of my superhero collection. And I still have it, obviously, but it's great because now I have both, so that's exciting. And so me looking into more Batman stuff caused me to look into other types of reviews. So I started looking at people like the Review Spot and other people like that, and I started watching those reviews more and more. Really got into the Review Spot. If you can find stuff from that era, I obviously was very into the Review Spot. And if you ask him, you could probably be like, oh yeah, Coolio Vids. I remember that guy. So Coolio Vids, that was the channel I wanted to create. I wanted to make this persona. I wanted to be a YouTube reviewer. I wanted to review toys just like all these people that I enjoyed watching so much. And so I settled on Coolio Vids. I honestly have no idea why. It was just a name that I came up with. If I could go back, I would certainly change it. I'm not a fan of the Coolio Vids name at all. So there's that insider scoop. I don't like Coolio Vids. I think it's a dumb name. There's a reason I don't go buy it anymore. Because you're young, you're a different person when you do that kind of stuff. I was 15 years old when I came up with Coolio Vids. Now I'm 23. I live a different lifestyle now. So yeah, that was then. For the longest time, I was just reviewing toys and having a good time on YouTube. I was meeting other people that were reviewing toys. I was talking to them, which was really cool to me because this was my chance to get in the community. They accepted me just immediately. They were like, oh yeah, this kid, well yeah, that's awesome. Give him a shout out in the video or whatever. People like Mighty Mouse 74, Mitch Santona, GI Nerd Commander, so many people. A Dumbass Reviewer, gosh, it was such a long time ago, but these are the people that I would hang out with. And of course, this led me into other forms of reviewing and enjoyment, which led to me interacting with people like Tori GNR1 and Geekvolution, which Geekvolution I became a very big fan of. They sort of reluctantly let me on to their things, I think, at certain times. There's stories, this is a bit of a sidetrack, I suppose, but there's stories of how Seth Green, when he first started acting, he would bug the other kids to let him be in their play. And that's how I probably felt I was little kid Seth Green being like, come on, this character has one line, just let me be them. I'm just a little boy. That kind of stuff, I guess. But I really got into Geekvolution, obviously. Because of Geekvolution, that definitely spawned me into meeting other people. Like I mentioned, Tori GNR1, I became pretty good friends with him. I don't think he makes content anymore. I think he does on the Geekvolution channel, but spoiler alert, I don't really watch Geekvolution anymore. But he doesn't really do anything on his main channel. But I also met other people like Dukaloops and Deadpoolzilla, and of course Shades at Night, who has gone on to this day to be one of, if not my closest friend, which is crazy to think that a man who lives across the other side of the world is someone so important in my life, which is awesome. It's the magic of the internet. So of course, yeah, we met other people. We'd hang out with them. Eventually, we kind of formed our own faction, like a Teen Titans to their Justice League sort of thing. And we called it Milky Juice, and we basically did reviews on there, and we talked about stuff on that channel, basically just talking about movies and things. Now, before that had happened, of course, I was still a toy reviewer. That was still my main thing. But something happened in 2012 where my laptop broke and I couldn't produce any reviews. I just couldn't. There was nothing I could do. I didn't have a nice phone camera like I do now. You know, I didn't have an iPhone until like years and years later. So I didn't have something to produce quality on. And that really was a huge detriment to my channel because before then I was pretty consistent and my fan base noticed that and they remained. But then you're gone for a year and so people just go. They don't care anymore, they're done. And so I tried making toy reviews, I tried coming back and it wasn't working. I couldn't find that click anymore, which was, it hurt. It really hurt because that was my passion. And I kept thinking about, okay, this is how I'll come back. This is how I'll do it. 2013, 2014, I'll do it this way. And it just never got off the ground or it never really worked right. It was bad. And I feel like if I hadn't have stopped, I'd still be doing it. And maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing, but I certainly miss it, it sucks. It really did suck. But anyways, like I said, I moved on to things like Milky Juice. Eventually, you know, Kirk and I, because we definitely clicked, I would say the most, we moved on to our own thing, and we of course had a podcast who most of you probably know because this is where most of my current fans come from, which is the Solomon Grundy podcast. Now, the joke about Solomon Grundy, for those of you who don't know, Kirk and I did a very, very early on, we reviewed like the season 1 pilot to the mid-season finale of Arrow season 1. And we talked about how that, you know, in that season, not Hal Jordan, Oliver Queen was like opening up a nightclub and that was his front. You know, like he would have a nightclub and then in the basement was his Arrow cave, which is cool. And we talked about how, like, what are they going to name the nightclub? It doesn't have a name yet. It's just it's the club. So what are they going to name it? And it's got to be something like a reference, obviously. Like, they're going to do a reference because this show was doing those kinds of things. So we joked about, what if it was just something really obvious? What if it wasn't even clever? What if they just straight up called it the Solomon Grundy? Because that's like, why not? You know, that'd be really silly, wouldn't it? So that spawned off. You know, we created our own show, and I believe it was Cody, our good friend Cody, who suggested, why not just call the podcast the Solomon Grundy as like a reference to your episode of the Arrow review? And it's like, you know what? That's fair. Let's do that. And so for those of you who know, of course, we did that for, I don't know however long we did that. Definitely multiple years, I want to say. But no more than 2. So we did that, and that was fun. And we met people along the way. You know, like Cody I had mentioned, and Sam from Sam's channel. Sam and I clicked because we have similar thoughts about things. And it's great. And another person, obviously Frank, Chief Brody Rules. That was another thing where I really liked his videos. And then now we talk about things. And he's even visited before, and it's great. He's a fun guy to hang out with. Solomon Grundy podcast, whole channel, got taken out by YouTube. I don't know why. It was just gone. I remember I messaged Kirk and I was like, you know, the channel's gone. And he was like, what? So that was a big, devastating blow to us, for sure. Not a fun time. Now, since then, I don't know what I've been doing. You know, I created the Anthony Vlogs channel to kind of show some stuff that was going on. And I wanted a secondary channel to make short little just talking pieces. I wanted to discuss things with people. I wanted to make things that I wasn't going to put on the main channel. But the main channel just became a dumping ground, essentially. It's whenever I would put things. And I tried different things, and I tried to be funny, and I tried to be whatever, and it just wasn't working, you know? I thought I did really well with that Justice League video, and then I made another one, and it turns out nobody watched that one, so I don't know what to do in that regard, and I felt like I don't know what to do with this channel anymore. I don't know what this channel is. It has no identity. It's nothing. It's just a place to put things. And as much as that is fine, I came to YouTube to start something. I wanted to be a part of the YouTube community. I wanted to contribute. I wanted to be something. And I still want that to a point. I don't want to say I want to be a YouTube content creator. You know, I don't want that to be my job. I'm not coming here to be like, I want to be a professional Let's Player, because that's nonsense. But I wanted to be something on here. And so really that's it. Before the end of this month, I'm letting you all know that all of my current videos will be going unlisted. Now everything is saved in playlists. My old toy reviews, my parody mashups, my list videos, everything. Those are all going in playlists. So if you would like to watch any of the videos from August 2018 back to October 2010, those will be available to you. But they will not be available on the main channel. You will not see them, you will not be able to find them unless you go to the playlist section. And so before the end of this month, or maybe not, who knows with deadlines and such, hopefully before the end of this month, things are going to change. Things are going to have a different outlook. I'm going back to formula, and we are going to start over. We are going to go back to the reason I came here, and hopefully you guys like it. But yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you for listening to this long, rambling history lesson, and I hope you guys enjoy what's coming in the future. So, take care.